Hi, we are doing another Chapter 12 homework problem. So this is from the optional homework for week 6, and this is your Connect homework problem number 4, and it's your book homework. It's the equivalent of exercise 12-2 on page 556. And this is talking about classification of quality costs. So this is from over on page 541 in the book, and if you look at Exhibit 12-6, it gives you a bunch of examples of quality costs. So I'm going to share my screen so that we can look at this problem together. Okay, all right, so this problem, I kind of like the problem we worked on the previous video, has a listing of activities related to quality. All right, and it's got the listing of your quality categories and prevention costs. So a prevention cost is the cost of doing something before you start making that product or performing that service, right? In other words, training, supervision, things like that. Appraisal cost, that's what's happening before the thing you're making or the service you're providing, before it leaves and goes out to customers, things you're doing like testing and inspecting and things like that. Internal failure costs. So these are costs related to maybe after you test something, it didn't work, so you had to redo it or scrap it or something like that, right? So that's an internal failure. That's something that was poorly made or poorly done, but you caught it before it left. And external failure costs are a defect actually goes out to the customer. So you've made a product, it goes to the customer, and let's say they return it, they have to use the warranty, stuff like that. So these are your costs related to quality. And in this problem, you're just telling which ones they are, right? So, and again, yeah, you might want to refer to Exhibit 12-6 on page 541. I don't know that it has these exact same things, but if you want to get an idea of the categories and what falls in each, that would be a pretty good place to look. So, product testing, that sounds like appraisal cost to me. Product recall. So think about it, something's already left the factory if you're recalling it and having to have it come back. So that's an external failure. Rework labor and overhead for that rework. So it hasn't left, it's back, right? It's inside. We caught it, and so it's like, ooh, this has got to be redone before we send it out, right? So that's an internal failure. Quality circles. So quality circles, I don't know if you've had this in management yet or not, but a quality circle is kind of like it sounds. In organizations, you'll have people from various teams get together and discuss how they can improve quality. So that's clearly a prevention cost. Downtime caused by defects. So that's something happened, something broke, we're having to stop the factory and go back and redo something, or, so that's an internal failure, right? Cost of field servicing. Well, clearly something's gone out. It's out there to your customers and it broke and you had to go out and service it. So that's obviously an external failure. Inspection of goods, so they're still in your hands, you're inspecting them, you're looking at them, so it's already been made, but that's an appraisal cost. Quality engineering. So quality engineering is this concept of as we design our products or engineer them or engineer our process, we're going to think about it in terms of quality, and so the cost of that is certainly a prevention cost, right? Warranty repairs, right? So clearly that's implying something has left our factory and it wasn't good, so we had to redo it. Statistical process control. So statistical process control is where you're trying to employ analytical procedures that help you determine where things go wrong, and then you can use that information to help prevent things going wrong in the future, right? So that's a prevention cost. Cost of scrap. So scrap is something you made it, but you didn't make it right, so we had to throw it out. That's scrap. So there you go. That's clearly an internal failure. You don't sell scrap. Depreciation of test equipment. So this is the equipment used for assessment, right? So you're testing this stuff. Does this work? So that's part of your appraisal costs. Returns and allowances arising from poor quality. Of course, yes, a return and allowance, that's an external failure. Disposal of production defects. So something that's defective and you produce it, but you're disposing of it, you're not selling it, right? So get rid of that. That's an internal failure. Technical support to suppliers. So clearly, that's helping you prevent problems from stuff coming in, right? So a supplier is supplying you with maybe raw materials or something. So component parts. So if your component parts are good, then your product's going to be good, right? So when you help your suppliers, you're helping prevent problems at your place. System development, right? So you're working on your process and you're making it better. Warranties, replacements, that's pretty clearly an external failure. Field testing at a customer site. So testing, that word testing is an appraisal. And quality training, of course, that's prevention. So there you go. That's problem 4 from your practice homework. And it's just about recognizing the costs of quality. And we want to do that because many organizations do are very interested in developing their products to be quality, so they don't have these costs. So, but of course, it is possible to spend more than you do on external, right? So you could have very few external failures and be having tons of prevention and appraisal costs that you really don't need. So, you do want to assess your cost of quality. I mean, yes, you could Six Sigma the heck out of it and have everything be perfect, but how much did that cost you, right? So you do want to keep up with your different categories of costs. All right, so that's really pretty much it for that homework. And one last homework from this week, and then you'll be done with this week's practice homework. No points, but helps you learn.